Joining me now is the GOP nominee for Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Hal Weatherman. Hal, good to see you on this show. Thanks for taking time off the campaign trail for a conversation.
Thanks for having me.
We've done this with you as a campaign advisor, manager, and now as a candidate, but this state's a lot different and a lot larger. Who's Hal Weatherman?
Hal Weatherman is 54 years old, been married for 20 years to my wife, Shelley. We have 3 kids, all teenagers. One's in college, 2 are in the home. We live in Wake Forest, North Carolina. I'm the former chief of staff to the previous Lieutenant Governor, Dan Forrest, and the previous chief of staff to his mother, Sue Myrick, retired member of Congress, first female mayor of the city of Charlotte, and 18 years in Congress, and I was with her for all 18 years.
And a Republican mayor of Charlotte,
yeah.
Much like Pat McCrory. But, you know, the state's changed then politically. How is it different in this as you've traveled this state, and how has it changed over the years since you were able to elect a Republican as mayor of Charlotte?
I mean, the influx of, out-of-staters is fairly significant, especially the more urban you go. The rural areas are shrinking by and large, and the urban areas are getting large. And to be specific, Raleigh and Charlotte are getting larger, and it's bringing a new influx of people, a lot of them from the Northeast, a lot of them younger. And even among the Republican Party, there's a significant amount of Republicans coming in, but it's a different breed of Republican than the old school, traditional Southern Republican. Same thing with the Democrats. And I think that's what's actually fueling the rise of unaffiliateds increasing as a percentage of the voter registrants. It's really out-of-staters coming in with no loyalty to one party or the other.
Is it healthy for most voters statistically to not have a loyalty to one party or the other? It's one thing to be in Camp Weatherman or Camp Hunt or Camp Cooper or Camp McCrory. What's healthy for our society?
I mean, I don't know if it's healthy or unhealthy. I just think it is the way it is. Parties used to wield great influence in politics, and really with the change of campaign finance laws maybe 20 years ago, McCain-Feingold, he who has gold makes the rules, and the party influence waned because the candidates started really raising the more money than the parties did at the county level and even at the state level. And so really that's what's fueled the change as far as I'm concerned. It's just the decline of the old school party. I mean, you used to have ward bosses and party bosses, and those days are long gone. Candidates run their own campaign. They have their own staff. Mm-hmm. They're not necessarily dependent on their parties. But still, you have an advantage. You still have an advantage if you're a member of one party or the other, only because you have a primary system that gets your name out there. You have the infrastructure of the party itself broken all the way down to the county level. And so it's a disadvantage as an unaffiliate, as a candidate. But yeah.
Let's talk about this lieutenant governor's race. What's your approach to elevating this position? It's technically the number 2 highest position in North Carolina politics. I think legislators have peeled back power and influence. So maybe not influence, but certainly the tactical legislative power. How have you elevated this role and your own identity during the 24 cycle?
I mean, I followed the lead of the office. The office, if I win, I'll serve on the State Board of Education. If I win, I'll serve on the State Board of Community Colleges. And I'm very interested in those positions because of what it will allow me to do. I want to bring a new generation of people into the trades. I go all around the state and I talk about we've lost as a society what I call the basic concept of the dignity of work itself. And so I want to drive, I tell young people today the quickest way to make 6 figures, the quickest way to be your own boss, the quickest way to build a business that you can literally sell for 7+ figures and retire is to work with your hands. And so I actually like the assignments that the Lieutenant Governor has, because those 2 pedestals of the Board of Education and the Board of Community Colleges would allow me to drive a new generation. I've got several ideas to drive a new generation of people into working with your hands and removing that stigma we put on people who work with their hands.
But if you're on that committee or that board, you're just one of many on that board. As a standalone lieutenant governor out on the stump, eating 100 pounds of barbecue and 58 dozen fried fish.
Rubber chicken. Yeah.
Dignity of work, we're going to hear that out of you on the trail. And if you're elected in office, what does that mean? I can surmise what it means, but in your opinion.
So I'd like to create what I just call right now a 2 and 2 degree. It's a new degree for kids who are going to go to college. I'd like them to go to the first 2 years, if they want, to a trade school, one of the 58 community colleges. get their certification, get their degree in HVAC or plumbing or commercial welding, whatever it is, electrical work, and then transfer to one of the UNC school systems. Get their degree from there, but it's a stripped-down degree. They've already decided what they want to do. They want to be an entrepreneur. They want to be a business owner in the trades. And so give them a degree in graphic design, marketing, budget, finance, business. Couple those two things together. Like I said, the quickest way to make $100,000 a year, the quickest way to build a 7+ figure business, in my opinion, in today's world, is to work with your hands. I'm tired of seeing generation after generation of kids be really pushed into a 4-year university system. I'm not against college. I have a college degree. I have a master's degree. But I'm sick of seeing generation after generation being pushed into this system where they're coming out with degrees in Egyptian poetry, $100,000 in debt, and they can't find a job afterwards. All the while, all the tradesmen and women are retiring or dying, or both, and wages are going up, and it's a great place to go. But you hear parents say all the time, well, that's a great profession, but not for my kid. I want my kid to go to college. And I really think people are starting to, in today's economy, they're looking and saying, why are we doing that? And so, you know, that's if I could accomplish one thing as Lieutenant Governor, that's really one of the main things I want to do, is create a new degree program that drives a whole new generation of people into understanding there's dignity in working with your hands.
You said stripped down degree, and when you go to college, you want that 4-year bachelor's degree. It sounds big, it sounds fancy, and it will get you a job. When you say stripped down, do you mean stripped down?
I would argue there's a lot of people out there where it won't get you a job.
Are you saying it's a focused degree where you go onto campus the final 2 years, you get you get the complementing skills?
Listen, a kid today, put it like this, education's evolving anyway. A kid today in North Carolina, in any county in this state, can go out of high school through dual enrollment, graduate high school as a sophomore in college, through what's called the articulation agreement. They can already go to a community college, take their first 40 core credits, and those credits must transfer now into the 4-year university system. They can't deny them like they used to, right? So connect all those dots. What is a 4-year university worth? If I can graduate high school as a sophomore, do first 2 years at a community college, then go to college for 1 year, a 4-year degree today is worth 1 year. And so that's why a lot of people are starting to say, why are we doing a 4-year degree, coming out $150,000 in debt, and then they can't find a job? When all the while, I know plenty of people that work with their hands that are making 6 figures at young ages.
Do you see yourself articulating that vision directly to the UNC system of which this station is a part, or do you start that journey through the North Carolina Senate, presumably with Senate leader
I think
Phil Barker?
I started on the 2 boards that I'll be assigned to. Right off the bat, I'll be on the K-12 board. Number 2, I'll be on the State Board of Community Colleges. I personally, if Mark Robinson is elected governor, I'm going to lobby him either through executive order or I'll lobby the General Assembly. I think the Lieutenant Governor should also serve on the Board of Governors. Like education, the evolution of education is partnership between all of these entities. Yet we have no entity that serves on all 3. And had Dan Forrest been the governor, we would have done that, because that was one of our platform items, that we wanted to do that. Put the lieutenant governor on all 3 entities to get them to work together more strongly.
Have you given any thought to what it would be to be lieutenant governor under a Mark Robinson versus under a Josh Stein? Presumably you can do business with both if you're elected.
There's no ambiguity to me because I've served in that. Remember, I was chief of staff for Dan Forrest for all 8 years, and so first term we were under Republican Pat McCrory. Second term we were under Democrat Roy Cooper. It is exponentially better to be under the party that you're under. Reminder, the state constitution grants the governor the authority to assign duties to the lieutenant governor. That has really not been the case historically over the last, however many years, 100 years. I would like to be a force multiplier for the governor, but clearly only if we agree ideologically and agree on the projects we want to work on. So it'd be better if I could work under a Republican, but all the projects that I lift up, like the 2 and 2 degree, are irregardless of who is actually the governor. So I feel like the projects that I lift up on my platform in my campaign, I can accomplish regardless of who the governor is. But I would like to serve under Mark Robinson, clearly.
You've told me off camera you've traveled to all 100 counties as part of the Republican primary. What are voters telling you, and what is their understanding of the lieutenant governor's role in the state?
Well, yeah, I went to all 100 counties. I went to 35 counties 5 times or more. I went to 10 counties 10 times or more. I feel very strongly that a governor and lieutenant governor, if they want to lead a state, they need to intimately know the state. I feel a lot of angst from people. That's what I hear. Angst in general. A lot of people struggling with inflation, high price of groceries, high cost of gas, health care. People are concerned with fentanyl, and fentanyl's not always in the urban areas. In fact, it's shocking how much it's penetrated the rural areas. crime. The more urban you get, the higher the concern about crime, because we are seeing crime rates go up. It's just a combination of everything that, hey, we don't like the direction the country is going right now, and that filters all the way down to the state level and below. And, people are restless. They want to change.
What tone are you feeling out of Raleigh? You spent several years here a few years ago, but what's the tone right now? You have Democrats versus Republicans, Republican super majorities, and Republicans can't get deals done even with a super majority.
I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm going to be as honest as I can be. I live in Raleigh, live right outside of Raleigh. I haven't been in Raleigh in 18 months. When I'm serious when I say this, I've literally been on the road for 5 and 6 days a week for 18 straight months. That's it. So, I've spent very little time in Raleigh. And to be clear, if I'm elected, I've made this pledge. Yes, I'll have an office in Raleigh. Yes, I'll preside over the state Senate as president of the Senate. I'll preside when they're in session. I'll be there. And I'll do my board appointments when they meet in town. Other than that, I'm going to govern on the road. We've never had a lieutenant governor that spent, a lot of people campaign for it. But, once they get in office, do they keep their ear to the ground? Are they accessible to the people? And I want to be a lieutenant governor who's accessible to all people, regardless of the county, regardless of the size of the county. I spend as much time in Jackson County, in Swain County, in Pasquotank or Perquimans than I do in Raleigh or Charlotte. Way more time, because their needs are greater, and they're so thankful that someone from Raleigh shows up. That's the number one thing. If I'm east of 95, if I'm west of Asheville, the number one thing I hear is nobody comes here, and I go back and keep coming back.
Is it your job if you want to travel as lieutenant governor and you come back to the Senate, is it your job to tell Senate leaders, this is what I'm hearing across this state? Because they're locally elected, but when they're in Raleigh, they're statewide figures. Do you feel an obligation to let them know, hey, this is what makes people happy or sad or angry?
Yeah, of course. I think that would only make sense, right? I'm not just traveling to travel. I want to travel so I can hear the problems and I can try to solve them.
I've got less than 1 minute. How partisan does the lieutenant governor's role need to be once you're past the campaign season where party nominees have to distinguish themselves from their opponent?
The vast majority of the role of lieutenant governor is education-based. And so I'm not going to be hypocritical. I campaign all over the state saying we need to get politics out of the classroom. And so, when I'm elected, I'm not overly partisan right now. When I'm elected, I'm going to delve into education issues, and I'm going to be true to the very thing I'm advocating right now. Let's get politics out of the classroom. Let's return to basics, to reading, writing, arithmetic, get back to basics. And I think we're losing that as a society, and so I'm not going to be guilty of doing that myself.
This is Hal Weatherman, GOP nominee for North Carolina Lieutenant Governor. Mr. Weatherman, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.